The cost of living has literally gotten so bad that people are just up and leaving left and right. And it's not just Florida, it's not just California and New York. People are leaving the most expensive cities, the most expensive states in a hurry. And the housing market is literally so unaffordable that a record number of home buyers, they're literally looking to relocate to cheaper cities despite rising natural disaster risks, right? And it's a give and take. It's like, okay, you might live in a cheaper area. Maybe there's no state income taxes. Maybe the homeowners insurance rates are lower. Maybe HOA fees are less expensive. But what compromise are you making by living in a less expensive area? Maybe there's a higher chance of natural disasters. Maybe there's more hurricanes or tornadoes, maybe earthquakes, dust storms. So these are things that we definitely need to consider when we're looking to lower our overhead and expenses, and achieve financial freedom and achieve FIRE and hopefully be able to retire early. Redfin actually reported earlier this week that a record 1/4 of home buyers are relocating due to a lack of affordability. And I don't think that this is an anomaly. People are seeing this. Everything is more expensive. Inflation is everyone has received a crash course in economics over the last 3 years, period and point blank. I think even my kid who's like 14 years old, he clearly understands what inflation was. But if you ask people, what is inflation 5 years ago? Most people had no clue what it really was. Yeah. So, Phoenix and Las Vegas. These are some of the most popular cities. I mean, who doesn't like Vegas, right? I love Vegas. I think we're about due for another trip to go out to Vegas. Probably stay at the, what is it? Not the Venetian, the one that's connected to the Venetian. Anyway, that's like our favorite hotel, and I can't even think of the name. Hopefully somebody could hit me up in the comment section down below and call it out. But Arizona's governor recently unveiled a plan to limit home building in Phoenix, citing a lack of water. So if you thought home prices were going to be coming down in Phoenix, Arizona, think again. If inventories cannot keep up with the demand, there's no way that prices are going to be coming down anytime soon, because the demand has really it hasn't subsided. It's subsided to some extent, but not to any measurable amount, even with higher interest rates. And a record share of U.S. home buyers are literally looking to relocate because of these the increased cost of living. More than it's like 25% of people who are house hunting, they're looking at different metro areas, which has increased compared to recent. And, I'm looking at HGTV. This is one of our favorite shows. We like that show. And we're seeing, it's funny because as the shows come out, the shows are recorded about maybe 6 months, a year before they air them. And they're over here talking about bidding wars and stuff like that. And it's like, man, it's wild to see how much different the housing market is now compared to how it used to be. Now, based on the searches of about 2 million Redfin users who viewed for sale homes online, relatively cheaper cities like Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, and Miami are attracting more interest, believe it or not. And Miami is really not that cheap, but I think that Miami offers a lot compared to New York City, compared to Los Angeles, in terms of a bargain for your money. It's kind of like, if you wanted to live in the city, but you wanted a little bit of a discount, Miami might offer that discount. Now, obviously, you're probably not going to live in a 9,000 square foot mansion over there and save any money. But, there are some deals to be had. Now, they're saying that the climate risks haven't stopped yet. Many home buyers are still moving into these different areas, even though areas like Phoenix don't necessarily have enough water. And that is a huge problem. We've talked about that previously. Not to mention, if they run out of water, a lot of these electrical systems rely on water to, um, for hydroelectricity. So that could be a problem if, there was like a massive power outage as a result of, water levels getting too low. Yeah. So Arizona's governor recently unveiled a plan to limit construction in areas around Phoenix after finding that the groundwater just can't support the pace of building. So that's a problem. It's just wild. It's like you have these natural resources in some areas that are not able to keep up with the population. Is this why they were trying to implement some population control? I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, guys. But near 7% mortgage rates, they've already made already expensive areas less than affordable. I mean, 7% mortgage rates, guys. This is more than double what interest rates were less than 2 years ago. Yeah, so, you got some of the most common cities. People are literally looking to leave. They're looking to leave cities, especially cities like San Francisco. Now, we know what's going on over in San Francisco, and it really sucks because we visited San Francisco during a time before all of this craziness was going on. We really enjoyed San Francisco. We took a spring break trip to California, and we spent a fair amount of time in San Francisco, and it was a wonderful city. In fact, when we went, it was actually pretty cold, which I was surprised to experience. But San Francisco actually had like a New York vibe to it. That was really surprising. I did not expect that. But among the cities that people are looking to leave out of, beyond San Francisco, is New York, Los Angeles, and several other cities. So, according to Redfin, these are the cities where they're seeing an exodus. And the typical home in Phoenix, the most popular destination for out-of-town movers, it's going for about $450,000. And, one of the most common sources of interest in Phoenix are people who live in Seattle, where homes are selling on average for $800,000. So if you sell your house in Seattle, for example, if the average price is $800,000 for real estate out there for a home, when you show up in places like Phoenix, Arizona, and the average price is $450,000, that's a steal to you. It's what we call contrast bias. And in contrast, it's a lot cheaper to live in Phoenix, Arizona compared to Seattle. And so, if there's a flood of home buyers moving from expensive places like Seattle into places like Phoenix, well, what do you think is going to happen to the home prices? They're going to shoot up. And this could certainly bode very well to the sellers and make it more of a seller's market in that particular housing market. Now, again, like I said, the housing market is going to be different in different areas. Like you might live in a rural area that's just not all that hot, not all that popular, and you're seeing home prices go down. Meanwhile, another place that's super popular, maybe Phoenix, Arizona, for example, could possibly be, holding steady on home values or even heading north. So, but just to clarify, the growing population of home buyers looking to relocate, it doesn't mean a higher total number as unaffordability is pushing a lot of individuals out of the market altogether. So, this is also something to keep in mind. Now, the total number of home buyers that are looking to move to a different city, that's actually down from 7% compared to a year ago. But it's just interesting to watch this, all of this economic activity play out, mainly stemming from the Fed's decisions. And they've made 10 very, very critical decisions that have yet to be fully felt in our economy yet. Now, this is really interesting here. Now, if I were trying to make a case that the decline in home prices that began in '02 or rather 2022 had definitely ended in 2023. Well, April's data would definitely support that argument. Now, whether we see further support for that perspective remains to be seen, but I think everything is going to hinge on where mortgage rates go from here, where insurance rates go from here, the job market, the labor market, and also the stock market, because a lot of people ended up coming up with down payments for their properties by liquidating some of their 401k investments. Back during, about 2 years ago, the White House came out and basically said, hey, you can use, a portion of your 401k as a down payment for your home. So people started pouring stock market money into real estate. That also helped blow up the real estate values. That, coupled with ultra low 30-year fixed rate mortgages, allowed people to buy more home than they had ever been able to afford at any other point in time, honestly. And so that was a tremendous event, and now it's kind of unwinding to some extent. But the real question is, we saw the Fed pause interest rates, and they, announced, they alluded to another couple interest rate hikes going into 2023 as 2023 closes out. But I don't think the Fed's going to be able to continue to raise interest rates. And I think that we're going to reach a point where the Fed is forced to stop. And when they are, this is also, I personally think that this is going to almost create a squeeze on the housing market and push prices up. That's my personal opinion. So is now the best time to buy real estate? Do you buy real estate now at a potential low and then maybe refinance that real estate at lower interest rates in the future, assuming that the Fed ends up lowering interest rates? I mean, maybe. I don't have a crystal ball. I always take this perspective. What do I think the value of any given asset is going to be in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years? If I think the value of the asset's going to be worth more in the future, if I'm in a position to invest in that asset, assuming I don't have any other better opportunities, I'm probably going to consider investing in that asset. Do I think real estate's going to be worth more in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years? Absolutely. With that being said, if I was in the market to purchase real estate today and the numbers looked good from a cash flow standpoint, I would have no hesitations pulling the trigger. So, because a lot of people have asked me, hey, Ron, would you invest in real estate now? And then other people are like, they're hard set on now is the worst time to invest in real estate or buy a house or an investment property or rental property. I think it always depends on the individual, and it always depends on the location. So drop me some comments, guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking right now. Let me know if I'm making sense, and let me know if there's any questions you have for me. As far as the stock market's concerned, we're within 7% of all-time highs, and the stock market, the S&P 500, closed out today. I think, where are we at today? Matter of fact, because I saw it around 3 o'clock, but I don't know if we close positive. Well, the Dow Jones is at 34,329. The S&P 500 is at 4435. And again, we're going to see a lot of resistance up around that 4,700, 4,772 area for the S&P 500. If we can break through that, there's a whole nother stretch of wealth to be built through the stock market if that happens. Long term, either way, I'm still bullish on my favorite ETFs, my favorite index funds. So that's my standpoint. But let me know what you guys are thinking. Drop me some comments down below. If you guys made it this far in the video, drop a quick like for the video. Also consider subscribing to the channel, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Take care.